That's good. Perfect. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 10th Filecoin Core Devs meeting on the 28th of January. Thank you all for being here. Our usual schedule. Let's get started with updates from the various teams, and then we have at least one open FIP to discuss, and Q&A and any other conversation people feel appropriate. For updates, maybe let's get started with Sarabitsu this week.
Thank you, Ayush. So during these past 2 weeks, we were working on establishing a Fuhon node on our virtual machine and make it interpret the messages and sync to the current height on the mainnet. So the issue we have faced is related to the performance of how fast the messages are being interpreted. And it seems to be quite a complicated thing in terms of it's not like a single thing which is not working fast enough. So we have realized that we have issues with how verify proof is performed in terms of like speed. Then we have a less significant issue with SIGO actors. So it approximately takes 20 to 30% more time than for Lotus to interpret messages using SIGO. But we are also thinking that there are some different reasons which we cannot see yet. So we are conducting a profiling and see what's going on in terms of how fast things are working during the interpretation of the blockchain. So our goal is to make our solution as fast as possible to be able to run on the mainnet. Because at the current pace it's just not workable. So we are currently working on optimizing stuff to be at least not as bad as it's now, and hopefully we'll make it. We'll be able to make it fast enough to in reasonable time. So one strategy we are going to employ for that is to finish with native actors as soon as possible. Basically, we have finished with V2 actors now. We are just polishing stuff, and then we'll try to migrate to C++ actors fully, at least V2, which will mean that we'll be able to synchronize up to certain height at least, and then see what will be the performance, and maybe there are some other drawbacks. So we are currently looking forward to discover what other hidden issues between the performance among the performance degradation. Yep, that's our main focus for past 2 weeks and probably next 2 weeks. So we are fixing some small issues in parallel.
Sounds good. What is the current rough epoch validation time, like each chipset, out of curiosity?
So we can compare it only to, so we have a single virtual machine for now. It's not really a fast one. So, but what we have done is we have established a Lotus node there, and for the Lotus node, it takes 24 hours to sync 7,000 blocks, chipsets. And for Fuhon node, it takes about 20 times more time. So this is our baseline for now. We know how to make it at least 2 times faster, but it will bring us to at least 10 times slower than a Lotus, which is not a good spot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, yeah, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Cool. Maybe let's hear from Venus.
Hi everyone. For Velas, because last week, because we and I think 2 weeks ago we have the first mining node on the mainnet. So the major thing yeah, for the Velas team actually is to maintain this node, because yeah, it's the first one we made some issues and we fixed them, including the mining, the block mining issue. And as you can see, we have about more than 50 terabytes power. Yeah, we're still waiting for the next chance to produce a block after we fixed all the problems. Yeah, this is first thing, and the another thing is that we are enhancing the documents, yeah, including the document for the users and also for developers. And at the same time, the team upgrade the Speak actors to V3, and we run the Velas load in the calibration network. Yeah, because the calibration network is not so stable, so yeah, we're still continuing to working on that. And another feature we have done right now is to enhance to have security enhanced by adding the encrypted key store, so that yeah, if you run on Velas node, yeah, if you need the Velas for yeah, gross power or main block, you have to input the password, and yeah, we have the key store actually encrypted. It's a security feature for the mining pool, and we think that is very important. Yeah, that's all we have done for the last 2 weeks, and for the next 2 weeks, we will start the architecture design of distributed mining pool and start to work on that. Before we do that, we want to separate the components. So we need 2 new projects yeah, to work on this. One is a Velas miner, and another one is Velas sailor. Yeah, we have all the services and components separated and make it yeah, I think to make it them standard, to yeah, integrate them together. Yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, for the new project, and added into the Filecoin projects. Yeah, and I'm not sure, Ayush or Moni, I should to ask to create.
You can yeah, if you let us know what you need, we can make it happen. You can just let
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Okay, and I can send you a message about this. Okay.
That's good.
Sure.
Cool, very cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously great that yeah, y'all are participating on mainnet and fixing stuff along the way. And Jennifer remarks in chat that the community will really like the improved security of the key store as well. That's something that they've wanted. So nice progress. Cool. Let's hear from Forrest.
Hey, definitely have some exciting news, which is that we are both syncing with InteropNet and mainnet now. So InteropNet, as of 2 days ago, we were syncing, but now since the network has been installed, we're not running a node on the network, but still really excited about that. And for mainnet, we started from a snapshot and we validated about 20,000 epochs now. In the process, there were some discrepancies, but we fixed these and have been staying in sync since yesterday, which is awesome. And also, we've been running a local DevNet, and this is helping us uncover issues with our nodes. And so right now we're working on solidifying peer management. But yeah, just sort of chipping away. And the next major thing I would say that we're working towards is just the audit. So we are scheduling that hopefully for early March. And yeah, I guess like starting to also think about V3. So we're starting the V3 update for the HAMT and the AMT, and then after that, at some point, do the actors. But yeah, I think that's it. Austin, anything to add or?
I think just generally, just to add on one point is that our node definitely isn't production ready yet. We're just like working a lot on hardening a lot of the stuff now, especially the networking stuff. But I guess the good news is like consensuses seem to be going very smoothly now. Like there hasn't been a hard fork in a while, and the issues seem to be all resolved, and the validation's very quick. So yeah, looking good so far.
Very nice. That sounds like exactly where you want to be. Good job, folks. Yeah, from the Lotus side of things, not too much to update. I don't think we've mostly been working on the Actors v3 Lotus 150 release, which will update Actors to v3, implement the optimistic window post-FIP, and have a couple of other changes. That release is basically ready. We're just testing it right now. We've put it on calibration net a couple times, found some kinks. Basically, the biggest decision we're trying to make right now is whether to have the upgrade before or after a bunch of East Asia goes on holidays. We were hoping to do it before, but we might slip the timeline until before would be around Feb 8th, but we might slip the timeline to after those holidays, which would be sometime in the last portion of February. So trying to figure that out. I am curious, does that affect planning for folks here at all, or do you have a stake in this?
It doesn't really matter, but just like we probably, if it's done sooner than later, it might be a little tight to for us to join V3, but it's not a big deal. Like if we just won't be on mainnet until we upgrade V3, because we've done part of the upgrade, but we're definitely not in a position to be joining and staying in sync with mainnet if it changes in a week.
Got it. Yeah. No,
yeah, for us also. So we are focusing on firstly start with V2 and then probably bump to V3.
Okay.
Yeah, for villas, I would think that we hope we can have the villas upgraded the same time as Lotus does, and we have done some integration and upgrade and running on the calibration network. We think we're okay if we do that on February 5th. If everything is fine, it works.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, well, we'll keep you posted. Obviously, we're just trying. Yeah, we'll see where we end up with that. It's just a matter of how much confidence we have. But apart from that, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else exciting from Lotus end. Yeah, lots of ongoing work on improving the deal making cycle. Because that's kind of our focus for the year is like the network is seeming generally healthy. We just want to make it more and more useful and easier to use. So that'll kind of be the running theme for at least the first couple quarters. Yeah, that's kind of an evergreen goal. Yeah. Did anyone else from Lotus and Friends want to share anything? Kuba, Nicola, do y'all have any updates you wanted to share? Jennifer?
Nothing major on our end. This is just maybe let's look in the future of what will happen. We're working really hard on this aggregation of proofs, and we have, as of last week, unblocked most of the work. So we did find a way for which provers could be batching all of the many proofs commit, so miners can batch, can aggregate most of the proof commits together. So instead of posting one message per proof commit, they could be posting one message per 1,000 proof commits. And the nice thing is that the gas of this cost almost as much. The gas of posting 1,000 cost almost as much as costing one. And too early to say, so we still have to integrate this into the protocol. We have the piece of technology now, and we need to now find what's the best way to integrate into the protocol and what's the crypto econ impact on this. And what I think will be important is that solutions like this, we don't have just one solution, we have many. Solutions like this massively reduce the gas requirements for miners, the gas cost for miners. So we're working hard to make this as soon as possible. I don't have a specific actor upgrade, but this is the major update that we have.
Cool, sounds good, thanks. And did folks from the foundation have any updates they wanted to share?
From my side.
Yeah, I was gonna say nothing big on our side, but still really getting up to speed. But this is great.
Cool, sounds good. Thanks again for being here. Alrighty, next up, maybe we have Kuba here. Let's talk about FIP 11. This is a draft FIP that was opened a while ago. If you can just go over kind of the idea today, and then we can think about it for a while and raise concerns and questions as needed. Kuba.
All right. So FIP 11, the title is Removing Reward Action from Reporting Consensus Faults. So currently, when you report a consensus fault, when a consensus fault happens, as in someone produces a consensus fault, then based on that timing, a Dutch auction is started on chain. It isn't really started; it's implicit. So what is that Dutch auction? Dutch auction is an auction where normally the price decreases over time. In our case, the reward increases over time. The aim of it initially, when it was introduced long time ago, before even Actors v0, was to reduce the contention on chain about reporting consensus faults, because back then the reward for reporting consensus fault was, I think, 10% of total miner collateral, and the miner was completely slashed, as in it cannot, its sectors are completely removed from the chain. Which meant that rewards were very, very high, which required this this auction mechanism to make it such that not everyone jumped right on it, as it was super you were looking at gaining thousands of Filecoins, right, from reporting consensus faults. Right now, along the way from very, very early Lotus to where we stand today, the reward from reporting consensus faults was changed. It changed from 10% of total miner collateral for that miner to a quarter of a block reward, which is value that's about 300 to 1,000 times lower than you were looking for at in comparison. And the argument is that a Dutch auction doesn't make sense for that low of a reward. It just means that the consensus faults are reported way, way later than we would like them to be reported. Just why we have reporting of consensus faults at all, and why do we want to have them reported early, is that when a miner commits consensus fault, assuming it's on purpose for gain and not. So far, mostly we've seen consensus faults be caused by someone disabling consensus fault filter in their miner. But for security reasons, we want to see consensus faults reported as early as possible, because it's possible to gain an advantage by producing a consensus fault. And the longer this consensus fault stands unpunished, as in the miner isn't stopped for mining, which is one of the penalties from consensus faults, the bigger the possible advantage and harm to the network a miner producing consensus faults can do. In that sense, you gain an advantage over the network. You are more likely. You can try to be more likely in producing blocks. You can be more likely in getting your blocks included in the canonical chain and so on. So the argument is to remove completely the Dutch auction, which simplifies the code. It just removes a big chunk of code that specializes in that, and always pay out the reporter the maximum reward we were paying out so far, which is a quarter of block reward. I think that's it. Any questions?
So just like to be clear, so now it's like you always get the same block reward for reporting consensus fault, so you might as well report it as soon as you detect it, because if not, someone might beat you to it. Makes sense.
So currently the reward raises grows reverse exponentially. No, exponentially. Reverse exponentially. From zero to from almost zero to from 0.1% of the reward of the maximum reward to the maximum reward over the period of 500 epochs, which means that it's currently not profitable to report consensus faults before 70 epochs, which is like 30 minutes, and that's the break-even point given the gas fees. And then like to gain like even one Filecoin, you have to wait another 120 epochs.
Makes sense. Also, do you have rough stats on exactly how frequent consensus faults have been on mainnet so far?
I don't have like precise stats, but like if I had to say, we had like 20 consensus faults since the start of the mainnet or something like that. There were more consensus faults, but so there were more consensus faults committed, but usually they were within 900 epoch window. And you cannot report multiple consensus faults within the same like window. So if you report one consensus fault, then it deactivates all the future ones for 900 epochs. So yeah, this also combats this, because what in essence happens is someone starts committing consensus faults and they keep committing it until you report them. And they can commit as many as they want in that period. The aim is such that reporters always report right after they send a high gas premium message with high fee cap right after the consensus fault was committed.
Any preliminary thoughts from people?
For me, it seems like a healthy improvement for consensus false reporting.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have this open for a while, obviously. So feel free to we'll discuss it some more if you do have concerns or suggestions. We can discuss it on the FIPS repo. So yeah, sorry, that sounds good. Cool. I forgot to mention that Raul from Testing and Test Vector Fun wasn't available to join today, but he said he didn't have any super exciting updates. But if anyone has questions for him, feel free to share them here, and we'll take them async in the Full Implementers channel. But I think that is all on the agenda for today. So here's who has questions, comments, concerns, suggestions to share.
I have a question. So do you have any updates on interopnet? Do you have a possible list of hardware, and what other people think about it?
Yeah, so half an update there. So we got InterruptNet off the ground earlier this week, but we're having difficulty maintaining the network, basically. In short, it's been a long while since we spun up a new network and had to maintain it, and some stuff has gone, so some of that code, it looks like, is a little out of date, because since we had mainnet and the latest calibration net, we just haven't had to do that. We're working on it. We'll probably dedicate some time to it next week, because it shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, right now the network is having a lot of difficulty staying alive, and it's not an infra thing. It's like we need to do some work in Lotus.
Yeah, it's one part is proofs thing where with small sectors there's a lot of proving, the challenge windows are shorter and so on, and it turns out there's a GPU lock somewhere that is being very contented, even though you have no GPU. It doesn't show up unless you're running like 15 proofs in 30 minutes, which normally you don't. And yeah.
It is helpful to know how much of a priority is this for everyone here. Like, I get the sense it's pretty high.
Doesn't really matter to us. I mean, it's just beneficial, especially it's a lot more important for us if the V3 upgrade happens like next week, because then it would just give us a network to sync against. But if that doesn't happen, then it doesn't matter. We're just using mainnet to test and verify a lot of stuff.
Got it.
Yep, it's also not critical for us, but in the long term, it's definitely worth having one. Well, we are having one in the long term.
Okay, yeah, we'll put some resources into keeping that network alive. Cool. Who else has questions? I have a fun one. What's if the three teams had to like guess the date when they'll have a node on mainnet and it'll stay alive no problem without anyone monitoring it for at least a week. When do you think folks will be at that point?
Oh, that's a tough one. We're quite close, because like our node was like running for like many hours, and I think so we don't have any consensus issues right now, but it appears to be something in our syncing algorithm or somewhere, some sort of scheduling thing where we may potentially have some lock issues, but it's like not obvious from our logs, so we've been spending the morning debugging that. So I mean, I don't want to jinx this, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, it's not replicatable, and it's like it happens every like if the node's running for like 12 hours at a time, it'll randomly do it. So it's going to be a fun one to debug. But I mean, like if I had to throw a dart at the board, maybe like a couple weeks, and we might be staying in sync. But it just depends on again, if there's the V3 upgrade, then it's definitely going to be a lot longer.
Right, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, at some point you start to miss the errors that are just like, oh look, we computed a different state, and therefore nothing works anymore because you have to deal with subtler, harder to debug stuff.
Yeah, ours isn't that bad. I mean, we just restart the node and it works. Just there's something that just stops validating.
Yep, for us, realistically, I would say about a month. So we'll spend probably one more week on figuring out what are the reasons. Then we'll spend some time on fixing the issues, and a month seems to be a realistic estimate.
Nice. And Vetus, you folks are basically already there, kind of.
Yeah, but still, yeah. Well, and actually, just a kind of reminder is because the gas base fee is very high. So if you run a node on the mainnet, if your code is not so stable, you need to invest the fail into it. So the cost is there. We hope that the code is kind of stable, and we could have the block rewards to compromise all this.
Right.
I just want to put on the record that if things don't go out as planned, it's Ayusha's fault for jinxing all of this.
Yeah.
Just get that on recording, Yeah,
I got everyone to state this is the day when everything will be perfect, no matter what. Things can only go downhill from here. Hey man, if Lotus gets to the point where it can stay alive for a month, that'd be good. I'm kidding.
Cut that.
My node has some quite uptime.
Yeah,
how long?
It stays alive. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, Big Chungus runs pretty well with the Lotus. The only times I have to restart is when I'm doing upgrades, so that's pretty dope.
Good. Yeah. All right, sounds good. I think we can wrap up here. Thanks for the conversation. But yeah, just based on that, it kind of sounds like within the scope of 2, maybe 3 of these meetings, we might all be at a place where we're seriously talking about either already being on mainnet or joining mainnet, and trying to get various groups to start diversifying and using different implementations, which is great. It's great for security. It's great for satisfaction for all of us, and for all the work that's gone in. It's very exciting. Cool. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye.